Hello, our lovely creatures of darkness, and welcome to the first ever horror sleep playlist on our channel. We would like to thank Phoenix Fire for the inspirational idea. To help you have sweet nightmares, we are creating this series of horror stories and narrating it in a way to help you sleep. This time, we are joined by our dear friend, Spirit Voices. Get comfy and prepare for sweet nightmares.
Parasitic. When you're young and on a spacecraft bigger than North America as a whole, you become careless. You get to see things that people on Earth will only ever get to see on TV or perhaps pictures on Google. And little by little, your careless attitude affects your crewmen. They can't stand you and wish that you were just sent back to Earth. Despite their complaints, the captain is the only one that believes in your ability to become better. Time and time again, he vouches for you, and you become curious as to why anyone would have your back as much as Captain Kyrick has yours. A teenager who keeps getting into trouble and is starting to influence the other kids around your age and younger. After being lectured for now the 10 millionth time this week alone, you decide to take a walk. Maybe clearing your head before you hook up with your fling, Ellen, will change your mood. You know you're banned from most of the really fun places on the ship due to vandalism. You know most food courts won't serve you, unless Captain Kyrick is there with you. And it's then that you feel a burning sensation in your back. It quickly travels up your spine and then the rest of your body. You can feel your body going somewhere, but it's like your vision fades in and out, as you fade in and out of consciousness. Finally, you arrive at wherever it was that you were going. You see the other kids that you hung out with there too. They are not responsive. Suddenly, you blank out. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. But no matter how much you try to gain control of your own body, you know it's too late. You and all the other troublemakers are now under the parasite's control, and there is nothing that you can do to stop it. Unless Captain Kyrick commands it.
Space Explorers. There's a reason that I know about the terrifying cliche of dying in space by not wearing your helmet. I was there when it happened, and trust me when I tell you that I don't blame you for not believing me at all. Time and time again, a handful of us have tried to tell the government that people really do need to know what's out there. The horrors that we aren't allowed to express to the public would immediately have us arrested, and you would never hear from us again. But I'm prepared to risk my life to give you all this information. Why? Because soon we'll be able to travel into space just as easily as taking the bus. And this one important thing is what you'll need to know above all else. I'll first start with what actually happens to you in the dark vacuum of space if you don't wear your helmet and your spacesuit. First off, get that science fiction crap out of your head. No, you won't freeze instantly as your eyes explode out of your head. Honestly, if you ever have the unfortunate part of watching someone go through this horrific death, then you'll know how much freezing to death in an instant would be better than what I'm about to tell you. Keep in mind that space is, in simple terms, just a giant vacuum. Have you ever experienced someone punching you so hard that they knock the wind out of you? Imagine that, but much worse. The air in your lungs won't have a choice in the matter, and it'll be forced out of your mouth from your lungs. The process isn't quick. It can take minutes for you to die of oxygen deprivation. In simple terms, it'll take a while before you suffocate to death. While that happens, imagine eating hot soup at a boiling point. That's what it'll feel like as you feel the spit on your tongue boil. It'll feel like that as you sweat as well. You'll inevitably die a very slow and painful death. What's worse is that once you're out there and starting to die in this manner, there isn't a lot that can be done. Not unless you were lucky enough to get inside quick enough. But let's be honest, that's not likely to happen. Now, how do we know this? I think by now, you have a small idea of what I'm going to say. Did I do this to any crew members? Or perhaps someone was really stupid enough to find out. Perhaps it was a created simulation in some lab? The answer is no. What truly happened was that the state of Florida decided to conduct its own experiment. Shortly after multiple successful missions to the moon, there was one blacklisted mission to the moon. 24 inmates were told that they were going to the moon to serve their time on a secret military base. As you can imagine, some hesitated, while others were excited to be anywhere but here. Multiple cameras were set outside of the spacecraft called the Space Explorers. Fake cameras were set inside the spaceship in order to not cause any suspicion among the inmates. They were told that guards were going to be posted just outside their private quarters. The launch went without a hitch, and we were able to see everything play out from the mission control room. Once the inmates started to float, they acted as excited as children, especially when they realized that they were handcuffed but not chained together. I honestly felt guilty for what we did to them next. The outer camera slowly rotated inward to view the inmates, and then that part of the ship fell to pieces. The guards were never on the ship. Little by little, they all died as we took notes. They begged and pleaded for their life, but even if we wanted to stop the experiment, there was nothing we could do. They are now gone and still float into space to this very day.
I looked at my husband and smiled as his hand was being held by mine, and mine being held by his, as we looked up at the starry night. It was breathtaking and romantic. He told me that one day he would take me beyond the stars just to show me how beautiful he thought I was. Admittedly, I couldn't help but to blush at his remark. "You are so sweet," I said as I kissed him. He looked serious for a moment, and then a small smile crept upon the face that I had loved since the very beginning. He held my hands as they glowed different colors. I began to panic as he held my hands tightly.
Do you know what gives space its array of different colors, my love? The very lifeblood and the essence of millions of different walks of life.
He began hurting me as I could feel every liquid in my body burn simultaneously. I struggled to free myself as the air in my lungs left me little by little.
Don't worry, my love. It'll hurt a lot, but it'll pay off in the long run.
I begged and pleaded for him to stop until my vision began to turn black. Then I saw every star in our universe. They really were so beautiful, and the view was now ours to enjoy.